All right, welcome to the Rockhound Podcast, and Theo is going to lead us off this time. So, Theo, take it away.
Hi, my name is Doug with Bob and Linda's Traveling Circus. No, sorry, Theo Kellison, and that's my channel name is also Theo Kellison. Very, very inspired name.
I'm Karen Britt, and I'm from Ozone Fine Art Ventures. And next.
Al, is it your turn? My turn?
Yep, it's Kurt.
Oh, okay. My name's Kurt Westerman with Rock.Hounding.Adventures out in Colorado. Next, Kyle.
I'm Kyle with World of Rockhounds, and yeah, this is the Rockhound Podcast. So we're going to go ahead and start things off with, how was everyone's week? And we'll go with Theo.
Oh man, busy. It's been a busy week for sure. I'm kind of just still decompressing. There was a lot of stress involved with getting the Makers Challenge organized, and it's just okay, it's over. I can breathe, but even still, it's been super busy. I've got a sale starting at my shop on Monday, so I've just been photographing rocks and listing rocks and making rings and prepping baculites and prepping ammonites and getting old rocks out and putting Bear Canyon agates and muriatic acid and prepping fire agates. It has been madness this week.
Well, I believe it.
Wow.
It has been crazy.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Right on. Well, I did an unboxing of some green jasper from Jared from Cliff Walker Rock Hounding. That was super exciting. And actually that's right there. And then also I killed an opal today. Call me the opal killer. And I also was working. I dropped a video yesterday for another milestone. And so we're doing another giveaway, and I have the beach rock hounding video that just dropped yesterday. And so it's been a really busy but productive week, except for the killing of the opal part. Yeah.
So pretty much this last week I've been pretty busy. I just finished my video, or editing my video for Nancy Hanks Gulch, and got that uploaded so that it'll premiere 5 o'clock Mountain Time on Monday. And as well, I've been working on videoing a polishing video for some fire opal, and also some Australian Rosella opalite, which is going to be hopefully going to turn out cool. But that's pretty much what I have been working on. I can't talk to that. Yeah, that's
gorgeous.
I've never worked with opal before, so it's kind of tricky trying to get all the scratches out whenever you're doing the polishing and stuff. So it didn't turn out perfect, but this next one that I'm working on is hopefully going to turn out a lot better. So yeah, I'm excited to get that completed. And so what have you been up to, Kyle?
Oh man, it's a never-ending project list.
I feel you there.
I have several videos that are kind of in queue. I mean, they're not done yet, but I'm working on multiple videos at the same time. And so I think, Theo, I'm kind of getting up to that level of you where I have several videos that I'm trying to plan at the same time.
Yep. It's the name of the game. You will pretty much always have one video finishing up every week, and it's golden. I have 7 videos right now ready to post, and it's such a relief knowing that you have backups ready to go at any moment. I can weeks like this, I cannot record and still know I have a video for Saturday.
Yeah, I'm hoping I get to that point where I can just be like, oh, I don't have anything planned. I'll post that video, because Wednesday's video I had for the fire obsidian, that was last minute. I was doing chores and yard work for the last couple of days, and then I think one of the nights I just slept. I was tired and I just slept, and so Wednesday comes around, I'm like, man, no, Tuesday night, I was like, I don't have time. I'm just gonna do something really quick. Hopefully I don't break it, and it turned out really nice. So
gorgeous.
And then
that is such cool stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And, thanks. I mean, Rainbow Obsidian is still very pretty, and it takes just as equally as nice polish. But again, Fire Obsidian is one of those things where I like it a lot. And once you get to 1,000 subscribers, there will be a video where I'll have some Fire Obsidian in it, and I can't say what it is. I mean, some of you already know basically what it is, but I can't say exactly what it is. And then I sent a video over to High Tech Diamond for a equipment design idea. And so I'm really eager for them to watch that and for them to get back to me and see if they're going to maybe use that or produce something like it. So we'll see. I think it's a great idea. I showed Kurt and Karen what it was, and I could have used it during the Maker Challenge for sure. It would have saved me so much time. But that's pretty much my ongoing stack of stuff that's going on this week.
That was a great design. I think that they should really pick it up.
That was version 2 and 3. Version 1 wasn't nearly good.
Well, fingers crossed for you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good luck. Hope for the best. I was watching a couple other YouTubers that also use drill presses, and I think that would be a spectacular design if they were to pick it up, because I know a lot of people could use it.
Theo, I'll send you a link so you can see what we're talking about. So you're not like, what's going on?
I'm out of the loop, and I'm just here for the ride. And I'm loving it.
But no, I'm excited. It'd be super neat to actually see them actually design and build it, and throw it out there for everyone to use, because I think it'd be super beneficial for everyone, because everyone has drill presses. I mean, I did it. I didn't for a long time, but now I do, and now I want something to go with it. But yeah, that's gonna sum it up for me. So I guess we already had the interesting. Oh wait, did we include the interesting projects in with yours, Karen?
I think so. I was just all up in killing opals. That's my most interesting project. I guess
you should call it sacrificing, not killing. That way, it's a learning experience for the next one.
Oh my gosh. And I guess my project I was preparing a video with some of the opals that I got from Australia. And then I also have a video coming up with CJ and Denny from Agate Enchantment and Rock Wizardry. I said it right. Yeah. And so that's a project in the making, and that'll be when I drop the giveaway. So yeah, anybody else with some projects on the burners?
Not really, just working on those on that fire opal and Rosella opal. And I may go out and do a video for tomorrow to a spot and look for some garnets if there is any there. I'm not sure, so that'll be interesting, because a couple weeks ago is when I went and did like a minute time lapse of the snowy mountains and the Colorado River and so forth. I picked up a small rock that had some tiny garnets in it, so I'm curious if there's more. So I'm gonna go back and do that.
Nice.
But that's pretty much it on my side.
Nice. With it being springtime, do you do any special cleaning?
I do that, but I haven't really started yet. I was thinking about it today because it was, I think, 65, 67, 66 outside, which is awesome. And I definitely need to do that. I did that last year about this time, so I'll probably do it again soon. But, yeah. What about y'all?
Theo?
I'm probably a weird rock hound because I don't have a single rock actually at my house. They're all at the shop. So I know it's weird. They're all at the shop, and yeah. So it's funny that you say that, because I am actually rearranging my bulk storage in the back of the shop, but it has nothing to do with nice weather. I can do it in the middle of winter if I want to. It's kind of trying to break down sizes and get everything graded and sized and put into separate boxes, and it's been taking forever. So we have actually a downstairs area at the shop, and I just use that purely for storage of stuff that I either have more than I need up front, or stuff that I won't touch too regularly. And it's loaded up with the big storage totes, the 20-gallon ones. They're just stacks and stacks on stacks on pallets on pallets. It's ridiculous, and it's a nightmare getting them up and down those stairs. What I needed is a volunteer.
You can pay them with rocks.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. There you go. That'd be perfect.
But you, Karen?
It hasn't really become spring here on the coast quite yet. I guess we did have some sunshine today, which was kind of nice. And so I basically just watched the spiders emerge from the rocks. So there might be some herding to do at some point soon, but yeah, they're still there. I'm still working with the stuff that I don't know how you could possibly not have any rocks throughout your house. I can't walk around and not like stub my toe on rocks in here. So
it's the blessing of having a shop.
Yeah.
You don't have to take them home to unload them or clean them. They just all get dropped off at the shop, and the nicest ones get put like in either my display case or in a box to take home, which I don't for some reason. I think I do have like 1 or 2 rocks here, but they're in another room. I was gonna go grab one, but they're not anywhere near me.
Yeah, I don't have any rocks in the house either.
All right. You got a big pile in the backyard.
Wait, those are real? I thought that was a green screen.
Oh, I mean, yes, it is a green screen. But no, I did, I guess, some spring cleaning in the garage and got rid of stuff that didn't need to be in there, and procrastinated a lot to clean it up because I should have been working on some other projects, but I can't focus on projects if I have a mess and clutter around me. So clean that up. My rock pile out back is actually fairly clean. I mean, it has maybe occasional small branch from the fir tree and the kind of catty corner neighbors. But for the most part, that stays pretty clean because I don't have any shrubs around it. So I don't have to worry about that. And then, yeah, and clean up the back porch a little bit. We had a clean out installed on the back side of our house for the sewer because we didn't have clean out. So I spent, I can't remember if it was Saturday, I think it was Sunday. And I spent Sunday refilling in where that pipe's at. And that clay that was around that pipe is just mucky and just like this is horrible. I used, I think, a fourth of it to fill it back in, and because there's another pipe I don't want to cover up just yet because I don't know what it goes to. And also, we were having some rat issues underneath the house, and that's how they were getting in. And so I want to figure out where that pipe's going and figure out if it's necessary for the home or not. Because if it's not necessary, I'm going to leave the wire mesh I have in there so it keeps them from using that as a highway to our house. But then I put the rest of the 3/4 of that huge pile of clay in the yard waste. And let me tell you what, I was sore because that bin was probably a few 100 pounds. I don't know what the weight capacity is on those things where you're allowed to pack them in, but it was not easy getting to the front of the house. I pulled several muscles. And I was feeling it for a good 24 hours. I'm sure the neighbors are watching me, watching this, 6'1" guy. I mean, I'm not small. I'm a big guy struggling with this yard waste container. It's just digging its wheel into the front lawn as I'm trying to drag it out. It must have been a pretty funny sight. I should have probably a clip on my our home security system. I should try to find it and post it. Post the struggle. So, Theo, it is time to ask you questions.
I'm ready.
So, Karen, lead the way.
All right. Okay. So if you watch Theo's channel, you've noticed that he has a multitude of things he's good at doing. You can watch him carve, you can watch him polish, you can watch him uncover fossils. And what I was wondering is, out of all like the penguin and the fidget spinner and all the things that you've done, except for the Maker's Challenge, that doesn't count because we're going to talk about this later. What was the most surprising or challenging project that you took on?
Oh man, probably the one I'm working on right now. Actually, it's a ways out still. you guys aren't going to see it for a couple months, and it's pretty intense. And I hate teasing it this far out, but because it's got a lot of work left to go. But it's actually doesn't have much to do with rock. It has a little to do with shells, but it's actually wood carving. And I'll give a little tease. Do you guys watch Bobby Duke at all?
Yeah, I know.
Bobby Duke cards?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know the Rhinoceros Beetle that he carved?
Yeah.
It's heavily inspired by that.
Okay.
That's
Well,
all I'm saying.
if it has eyeballs, you can make stone eyeballs.
Yes, actually, I have 2 little tiny pieces of obsidian that I'm going to be turning into little minuscule cabochons on my flat lap. So there will be a little stone, but the majority is wood. But I don't know. As far as stuff that I've actually has come out already, oh man, they all have it's hard to honestly say because they all have their own challenges in a way where it's I don't think I've ever done a project that didn't have a single challenge with it, but they're all weird in their own way. Like the penguin was very straightforward carving. There's on the surface nothing that was difficult about that, but that opalite is some weird stuff. So it's like really, really soft, but it's one of the most abrasive materials I've ever worked with. Like I was just burning bald all of my diamond birds that I used with it. So I had to turn. I mean, I always carve underwater so that it keeps everything cool. But I had basically had to carve that thing under a faucet. It was just destroying my birds. It was ridiculous. And then the fidget spinner pendant. It's really, really hard precision stuff because if it's off slightly, it won't spin properly, or it'll just spin once and stop, and that's not what you want. You want it to fidget spin. And so that one, the challenge there was just making sure everything was perfectly spread. You're fine. I just jumped about 9 inches.
Yeah.
Too many phones.
I think one that probably my carving that failed the most was, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's a pretty old video. It came out I don't know, probably last February. I took a pine cone and cast it in resin and then carved it into a ball of flame. Well, I'm a dummy and just get ahead of myself sometimes, and I was supposed to pour it in inch thick layers because it really kicks the activating agents inside of the resin, so it kicks fast and it kicks really, really hot. It's some stuff that's supposed to take 32 hours to cure, and it's only supposed to be a half inch to an inch depth at a time. I poured it 6 or 7 inches deep.
Oh, wow.
And it literally cured in about 30 minutes all the way full. But I mean, it was just bubbling, boiling like a pot of water. And I'm just sitting there there's no saving this. I think I still managed to get it halfway decent, but that was probably the most challenging carving yet, honestly, just because I didn't read instructions until I was done pouring.
I feel like if that were me, I'd be like, that can't be good.
Smoking at one point. It sounded cool, so I was like, all right, I haven't seen anything else like this on YouTube. I'm gonna jump on this. I do work a lot with resin. I love working with resin. It's so much fun. I do a lot of wood sceneries with wooden resin. Wood rings and wood pendants. I think I did a video on one, but it's I'm super harsh on my old videos because I've improved as a filmographer so much in that time, and you can just tell how uncomfortable I am, and I do not like watching that. So,
I think that's all of us, though.
Yeah.
If you want to see how much the channel has changed, go watch my first video and then go watch my most recent video, and you're like, wow, this is the same channel. But yeah, and I did a little mountain scene with a river going through, and I turned it into a carved wood pendant. And I do that kind of stuff a lot. I love making little wood mountain rings, and they're so cool. You literally just take a piece of wood, carve it into a ring, and then you carve a tiny little mountain where this would go, encase it in resin, and then when you pour your resin, you mix some colors to make I don't know, the Northern Lights or stars or something like that. And then carve it into a shape and polish it back up. And they're so cool. They're awesome. And I honestly really should do more videos on them because they're really, really cool. I love working with resin. If you get into carving or shaping, it's the best stuff ever because it's so soft and it's so uniform. There's no density changes whatsoever. It's just magical stuff. Of course, I can't. It's at the shop like everything else, so I can't show you. But actually, I don't think I've ever even teased it in a video. I made a river table with a bunch of resin where I took a giant log. I think it was like an 8 or 9 foot log, cut in half, obviously, and carved with a router and my rotary tool, carved an actual, like, going off of pictures of satellite images from Google Maps, made a stretch of the Yellowstone River, and then put like just itty bitty tiny little agates, like smaller than my fingernail, and I used dirt from the Ruby Range in Montana, which is famous for its garnets. So the even just the bedrock soil is just like bright, vibrant red, and you can see all the garnets in there. And I put some fossils in and stuff like that, and then poured that entire section over. So it's like it's a true blue Yellowstone River table, and it's so cool. And I honestly don't know why I haven't showed it in a video before.
Do you use a lathe or do you do everything by hand?
I pretty much use my rotary tool for everything. I would love a lathe, but it's man, I want a lathe so bad. But yeah, it's pretty much entirely my rotary tool for all of my shaping. Like that one, I roughed the shape out with the router and then went in and kind of softened the edges with my rotary tool. But my rotary tool, I call it my sidearm for a reason.
I guess my question would be, what is your ultimate long-term plan as far as YouTube and your lapidary arts?
Oof, just pushing it as far as I can, I've always said that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and I'm here for the long run. I'm not going anywhere at this point. So, it's so much fun. And YouTube has made me grow so much as a person that I don't see whether my channel just stops completely and I hit to 8,000 and that's just all I get. I'll still be here for another decade, but obviously the growth is wanted, but I don't do it for the growth. I do it just because I love doing it so much. But I think as far as what I'm currently doing, which I get a lot of comments telling me about that kind of stuff, that I've been encouraging people to do things, or like one thing I'm really big on is I will never hide the way I do things, because it's so infuriatingly hard to find out yourself how to do some things, especially in the lapidary world and like woodworking and carving and stuff. You can find you're just starting basic tutorials, and you can find you're a veteran master that's been doing this for 3 decade tutorials, but there's like nothing in between. So like the stuff like the pendants, like the fidget spinner pendants and like the carving and stuff, I love like teaching people what I do, just to stress the point that anyone can do it if you just give it a little time. And that right there is why I push the channel as much as I do, because I love just getting told that, hey, I went out and actually got some resin and tried doing a resin carving because of one of your videos. It's like, yes, that is the point, and that is why I will continue to do this.
Nice, yeah. No, I totally get it. What is the name brand of the rotary tool?
Mine is a Winza, and it's only like $80, which is like, I think the lower end ones are usually running like 50 to 60, so it's really not that much more, but it's not like a Fordham that's like 400 or 500.
I was just uncovering a fossil shell from the matrix material that was around it, and what you really should use is a different tool than a rotary tool at all. I use the Fordham, and I actually have a flex shaft Dremel as well. So I like to Edward Scissorhands these. I've got Fordham in one hand and Dremel in the other. But the Fordham is a foot pedal and very delicate, and it has a really superior handpiece. And that saves your hand from, the extended use, the muscular problems. That's why to use them. Yeah. And then you've got the Dremel is my heavy lifter. And I will agree with this as far as any other rotary tool. You can grease the shaft, you can take care of brushes all day long, and they will die. They will still die.
It's so true.
There you go, Theo. Yeah, take it.
And that's why I love my Winza so much. I mean, I have to once a year, I have to take the handpiece apart and kind of grease everything, and I have to pull the sleeve out of the cord, or the cord out of the sleeve, and kind of lubricate that. But other than that, I mean, it's a workhorse. That thing is as delicate as I want it. It has a foot pedal too, and it's as delicate as you would ever want, but it's also just such a heavy lifter. So it's a great model. Honestly, I had a Chicago Electric one, and I must have gotten one of the the odd ones on the on the shelf.
Oh no.
It only lasted a little bit, but I actually was. It's so funny because I got that one because I actually used my Windsor so much that I wore the center cord all the way through. So
Oh wow.
it would spin up, and then you touch the diamond bird down and it just stopped. Like the motor's still whirring and everything, but it would just stop, and I'm like, oh no. So but it was actually the perfect length cord, so I just took the Chicago Electric, put that cord out, slid it back into my Windsor, and it's like, all right, good as new.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I went through Chicago tools like milk in the refrigerator. Those were difficult, but
They're sleepers. Like some of them are amazing. Some of them are fantastic. Like some Harbor Freight tools, you get exactly what you pay for, but some of them are so much nicer than you would ever expect. Like their tile saw, so cheap and such a reliable little tile saw. I do all of my rock trimming with my Chicago Electric tile saw that was like, I don't know, like $30-$40 maybe. So cheap, and it's been running for like 6 years now. Just no problems whatsoever. It's such a good little thing.
Yeah, I got a couple I got a couple high-speed buffers from Harbor Freight and haven't had any issues yet. And I got my diamond burrs from them too, and it is kind of hit or miss on if those burrs are going to last a long time. But you know, they're cheap. I mean, you're spending like $7 for a small pack or $20 for a huge pack.
Yeah, just go get another one.
Yeah,
it's not the end of the world if they're bad. I get all of my diamond burrs from Harbor Freight.
My question was, what inspired you to get into the rock hounding hobby and start a store or a shop?
That is a good question. I got into it. Funny enough, I got into rock hunting because of a like sift your own gems bag, like you know, the ones you get at like, I don't know, like a mini golf course or something like that. They're like $10 and they've got the little trough and you do the thing. Well, we were at Reptile Gardens in South Dakota and then we bought one of those, and I was just like, wow, these are way cooler rocks than I ever realized that there were. And then I spent like the next 3 days like identifying everything, and it's like, wait a minute, fluorite. We have fluorite in Montana. This website is telling me. Wow, wait, we have agates in Montana? Wait, we have all of this stuff in Montana. I should be going out and finding this stuff. And then I went out and started accruing rocks, but I couldn't do anything with them because I had nothing. And I was like, I gotta be, these are just, you know, paperweights until I can find a way to do something with them. So got the tile saw and actually got a really, really good deal. And I still feel bad about it to this day, but I totally sniped someone on an eBay auction for my fasting machine last second because I needed that thing, and it's the backbone of my shop. So it was worth it, but I do to this day still feel bad about it. But it was so I got that in my tile saw, and I was like, all right, the door has officially opened. I can start making stuff. And at that point, I was like, me and my dad actually used to work at in the finishing room of a wood shop, and he was just opening up his guitar shop, and I was kind of like figuring out if I wanted to stay there or go somewhere else. And I'm like, it's the time. I have enough stuff to like actually sell what I'm doing. I have enough of a foot in the door in my jewelry making that I can sell this stuff. Let's just do this. And yeah, it kind of just snowballed into levels that I never would have expected. But yeah, that's awesome. I don't do anything like 50%. I have a really actually bad habit of doing everything that I do 4,000%. So I think that was just, you know, it's like, all right, I'm getting into rock hounding 6 months later. Okay, I need my own rock shop now. Logically, that's the next step.
Now you just need a spot inside your house for some rocks.
Yes.
Just do what I do, is to have like a certain mineral set in your house and then keep everything else at the shop.
Yeah. I need to. The cats are the real worry. I don't have any like glassed off shadow cases, so I want to bring my carvings home at the very least, but I do not trust one of them at all.
Yeah, I completely.
Kurt knows.
I completely hear you on that. My cats. I have some really nice pieces I want to put up on the shelf, but I'm so afraid because my one youngest cat, he'll lay next to it and look straight at me and just push it right off.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
didn't
I want
you
to
just lose a TV or something, Kurt?
Yeah. Wasn't gonna mention that, but
cat.
yeah. I'm not going to give not many details on that.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean
You're
to
good.
throw your cat under the bus or anything.
You're good.
That is exactly what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
He's a terror, and he will destroy anything I bring into this house.
Yeah.
I do want to apologize right now. River's in our bouncer, so you guys might be hearing happy sounds from Baby.
Oh.
So I apologize now. I'm trying to mute as I'm going. If I can start hearing, I'm like, oh, sorry, mute. Has, oh my gosh, look at the agate. Been trademarked yet?
I don't think so.
It's
I'm not sure.
really funny that you say that. I very unintentionally created a slogan for my channel, a catchphrase that I did not foresee, and it, I'm leaning into it. I could deny it, but I'm leaning into it, and there's going to be merch on the way soon. But
Catchphrase
for the channel is that's way bigger than I thought it was.
Money and time not being an issue, where is somewhere you would love to rockhound?
That's so hard. I have a list of some dream places, but honestly, probably at the top of that would be Australia. Like, it's funny because I haven't really worked with it too much in videos, but something that I work with a lot, and it's one of my all-time favorite rocks is Opal. I love Opal so much, and I love working with fire opals, and I have some lightning ridges on the bench right now that I'm going to be working on in the next couple days. But I want to go to Cooper Beatty and go in there and mine some opals, because that's like one of the most awesome things. It just sounds like so much fun. Another one would be Brazil. Brazil has such a massive range of gems and minerals that it's just, I mean, you could throw a dart anywhere on the country and chances are you're going to go somewhere where you can find some cool agates, like crystals, rare minerals. The Paraíba tourmaline, which is like one of the prettiest, most expensive gems on the planet. Oh my gosh. So Australia or Brazil would be my two.
Do you think you would do the underground thing?
I would love to. There's what is the name of it? I don't think it's even open to the public, but it'd be cool to find a way to earn it in. But it's what is it? What is it? It's I think it's a Cave of Giants, Crystal Cave, something like that in Mexico. It's like not even open to the public. I don't think normal people, unless you're like a scientist going in there to study, I don't think you can even go into the cave. But that is like on my dream board for sure. Like that'd be so awesome.
Isn't it the one where like the humidity is just so high, like it would actually like kill a person?
The researchers are only allowed in for like 30 minutes at a time because the moisture in your lungs starts to condensate, and you don't die from heat exposure. You would die by drowning, basically, because it's so warm and so humid that the moisture inside of your lungs would cause condensation to build up, and you would literally drown underground. Like, it's terrifying. Those 20 minutes though would be so cool.
Karen, would you do it?
Yes. I like pretty things. I like sparkles. We actually we had a chance to go to the caves in Arizona. There's the ones in southern Arizona that they discovered and they kept a secret for a really long time, and then and they allow people in for a short period of time. There are people that watch you so that you don't touch and disturb any of the crystal growth. I mean, it is off the Richter cool. So yeah, I mean,
That
like
sounds
they
awesome.
could like lower me down on a spider web to go and spelunk for opals too. Yeah, both of those things. And I'm terribly claustrophobic, but for rocks, yeah, I absolutely all day.
That's the funny thing, that my biggest goal when it comes to rock hunting is one day go mining for opals, but I am like terribly claustrophobic, and it's like, nope, eyes on the prize. Prize.
I would definitely do that. There was like when I was living in Arizona, I was wanting to go exploring mines and stuff, but I didn't have anyone to go with me, and I know it's safer to have someone go with you, that way in case there's a emergency or something happens. But everyone I knew that I would try and get to come with me, they're like, nope, I'm not going down there. I'm not going deep down in the earth. I was like, come on.
I've gone in caves before, but there's nothing exciting in them. I think they were outside of Bend. We went for a trip, and I rolled my ankle somewhere deep in the cave, and then I rolled my other ankle on the way out of the cave.
Oh wow.
And so I mean, it was a very cool experience, and I didn't mind it at all because it was nice and cold down there. Big guy, I don't do heat very well. Prefer colder weather. But rolled both my ankles, and if it hadn't been for rolling my ankles, it'd been much more of a fun experience. But I'm not very claustrophobic. It's the heights that do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Caves, not so much. I'm just a very big hobbit, so or no, a very big dwarf now.
Have y'all heard of the what is it cave system in Kentucky? Mammoth Cave. I think it's the largest cave system in the world, but it connects all over the state to like different tunnels, and you from what I remember when I went down there, I was wanting to go on one of those trips where you put on the headgear and like go down in the small crevices, and I've always wanted to do that, but I've never been able to. But I think you can spend the entire year down there going through all the tunnels and never go across the same path, which is just crazy.
Are you going to be able to come to Oregon and mine for sunstones?
Oh, I love sunstone actually, and I don't have any sunstone, so I've gotten to work with it once, and
I'll send you some.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you.
I got like 8 pounds of sunstones.
The look on your face, you just look so done with sunstone.
Right?
Yeah, man, I'll take them.
I mean,
dude, you have a faceter. You can do something with them. That's
they're
so
not
cool.
huge stones. I mean, they're more smaller stones, but I got 8 pounds, and I mean, I'm not trying to get too far off topic because we still have to cover the maker challenge and stuff like that. But the last time I really did some heavy digging out there, I went with a bunch of other people from the rock shop here, and we all went out there. Me and 2 other guys paid for an all-you-can-eat buffet, which is they bring as much sunstone ore that you can sift through for a couple days. So that's at the Spectrum Mine, and so we did that. And towards the end of the day, we had a pretty full pile, and it was starting to get dark. And I'm sitting there like, all right, I guess we'll do this tomorrow. Well, tomorrow comes, and if I'm going somewhere to mine or to dig, I'm not there to sleep. So if the sun is up, I am up.
Absolutely.
And so
so annoying, yeah.
Sure enough, I wake up, look
definitely.
over, and I'm with a bunch of guys that prefer to have their coffee before they get up. Me, I'm already like, all right, let's go. I don't need my coffee. I'm dressed. I'm ready to go. Get out. No one in the whole camp is awake. I'm the only person. So I'm like, well, the sun should be up here soon. I can go ahead and get started. And sure enough, the sun was starting to peek its head over the horizon. I'm like, all right, I have sunlight. And so I started sifting through that pile of dirt. By the time I got done with my pile of dirt, I'm already walking around the whole area, and that's when everyone starts waking up. I'm like, come on, you guys. But that trip, I got about 10 pounds of sunstones. And
Oh my gosh.
I've been given a
Amazing.
I sent a few over to my friend in Ohio, and I worked out a trade, so he cut some stones for me, and he sent back the ones that couldn't be cut into stones because they had internal fractures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I still gave away here, a few here and there, just because that's a lot, and there's some shillers in there, there's some regular ones in there. I took out some of the ones that already had colors. I mean, sunstones are very forgiving as far as like lapidary work. They're very easy to polish, but I'll send you a nice little parcel.
I would greatly appreciate that.
Let's go ahead and get into the maker challenge. This is kind of gonna be the big talk because there's still a lot to cover. So Theo, what are your thoughts on everyone's projects? And we can start with Sunday.
No, it was amazing. Like, I was so blown away. Like, I mean, Kyle, when I sent everyone the invite, I just said, like, just do anything. Like, I would have been totally happy with just like slabbing a rock, like polishing a slab. That was like just the bare minimum. I was like, if you don't want to like go crazy, you don't have to by any means. Just do what you want to do. if you shape a rock in any way, it counts. Just join us for this. And no one went simple. And it was so cool to see everyone, like literally everyone, step outside of their comfort zones to do something just crazy. It was so cool. And,
I liked watching rookie Rockhound almost vomit. Like that was like
Oh, I know. I
The
saw
thing
it.
was,
So
like,
funny.
I saw that video and I saw it happen. I'm like, I know exactly what he's like tasting. Because like, I mean, everyone has their own like taste in like beverages for adult beverages, Scotch and bourbon and that kind of stuff. No, that's not for me. And I used to work at a liquor store. I mean, I'm not trying to get too much far off topic, but I used to work at a liquor store, and a lot of times when people came and asked for recommendations, I couldn't give it to them because the stuff I usually drink is typically like flavored rum and soda. I'm simple. I'm a simple man. I don't need like high end stuff. And then trying to pronounce some of the names of the Scotch. There's one. It's called Lefroy, but the way that it's spelled out, it doesn't look like Lefroy. Yeah, I called it Leopreg. That will singe your nose hairs easily. When he did that, that reaction, like, yep, I can relate to that. I get it. And the funny thing is, he probably could have easily gone with like lemonade or soda,
Yeah.
iced
coffee.
And his buddy didn't like it either. I mean, the whole thing was
surprise.
Like, why did we make Whiskey Rocks? But it was super cool. It was super cool to see. And one of the other ones that I really liked was and shout out to Montana Rock Mom for healing well. Girlfriend, I hope that you're doing well. But like she made a doorstop. So it didn't matter like at what level you were entering in on your rock challenge, she met it. That was so
absolutely.
But starting with Sunday, I mean, let's try to keep this in order so we can.
Yeah. So
right.
Sunday was Agate Enchantment and Rock Wizardry, and they made that knife with just incredible scales. That was just so awesome, and I've made a knife before, so I know the struggle that I'm familiar with how much work that was, and man, they nailed it. It was so beautiful, and I'm sorry, it was just awesome. So pretty. And then we had Kate with her lamp, who I was talking to like a couple nights before, or like a week or two, I guess I should say. And the level of stress when she messaged me and was like, it's falling apart. I was like, no, Kate, you got this. You got this. She's like freaking out. Like, oh no, I feel so bad. So she was like, I'm trying to, when we first started, she's like, I'm test soldering and I know this is going to work. I'm like, I know that it's going to work. I have 100% faith in you. And then getting that text like 2 weeks later, that it's all falling apart. No, no, not Kate. But no, that it came out so amazing. It's so beautiful, and I'm so happy that she didn't throw in the towel at a time that it probably would have been the easy route. And she just kept her head down and figured out a good way to fix the problem, and it looks so good, like just amazing. I thought it came out fantastic. So we started off very strong with those two, I think. Yeah, it was
the
wonderful.
fact that she showed the fail,
Yes.
like so many of us like don't want to show the fail. Don't show.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah, but like she did, and she modeled through, and she showed us how she saved it. I thought that was so valuable.
You absolutely have to, and I think especially if you're trying to teach others how to do that kind of stuff, because I have never done a carving or project like that where I didn't run into one issue. Like things don't ever go perfectly, so you have to show those moments to really stress the point that no, you didn't mess up. You're right on track. Everyone messes up.
It's important to show that because nothing's perfect. I mean, that's why
exactly.
That's why I posted my slab video for the obsidian slabs. That's why I posted that because accidents will happen, and the best you can do is just breathe, step away, come back, and try again. And
absolutely.
Definitely.
And you also have to be hopeful that if it is a customer project, that the customers are going to be cool with it. I got really lucky. The guy is his name's Michael. He's also another YouTuber, but he was super nice about it, and I'm pretty grateful for that. Yeah, show the stuff that can go wrong.
Exactly.
But so that was Sunday. So for Monday we had a Montana Rock Mom and Gravel Bar Hopper.
Yeah, and man, they both just knocked it out of the park. Like it was so cool. BJ, he posted on his Instagram like 3 weeks before his video where it was his first attempt carving wood on a Dremel. I'm like, I wonder what he's doing. And then he makes the buckle, and I'm like, man, you went from you're never carving with a Dremel before to that belt buckle. That is amazing. Like, you've got a knack for this. And he made it look so easy. I told him that he needs to make some project videos, because he made the way his video came out. It was like, he's always doing project videos. It came out so cool, and yeah, they're just it was awesome.
Yeah, he did an awesome job.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then Montana Rock Mom, she's such a legend. Like, I'm so happy I get to like know her in person, like personally, because she's just such an awesome person. And went out, got into a pretty serious accident. I don't know if you guys saw the video that she posted a day or two ago.
I didn't get to see it yet.
Okay, well, she kind of talked about what happened, and yeah, not pretty. She fell like 50 feet, broke 3 vertebrae, and had left with a concussion, and still managed to climb herself out of that canyon, which is like easily a 45-minute, hour-long hike. Got all of her bag of rocks back to the vehicle, drove herself all the way back to Billings, and I know where she was. That's like an hour-and-a-half drive, probably.
Wow.
And yeah, got herself there. All of this by herself, and still got her video posted. Amongst all of that stuff going on, she still got her video out on her day, and she's a legend. She's awesome.
Definitely.
She's such a cool person.
Yeah, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, very dedicated.
Dude, that's just Kim. Kim is made of steel. It's ridiculous.
They're like, oh man, I'm in a bad accident, but I gotta get my rocks. I can't leave them behind.
I mean, she's literally messaging me in her hospital bed, and she's like, I'm gonna be running a little bit behind. I'm like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You have way more important things to worry about. Please don't worry about it. Like, do you want me to make a post and like let people know that it's not coming out? She's like, yes, please. So I make the post, and then check my phone like 2 or 3 hours later, and there's her video. And I'm like, I told you not to worry about it. You should be resting right now.
I forgot where I was when I was. That was Monday.
Yeah.
I think I was working on editing late at night in my office, and I'm like, I'm trying to watch YouTube as I'm doing all these edits. I'm like, God, where's your video at? Like,
yeah.
So Monday's almost over.
I know.
and it must have happened like right around midnight. I think it was.
I think she posted like 10:30, 11. So it was late, pretty late. But I made a post at like, I think it was like 8 o'clock. We're saying that don't be waiting for it, because it's not coming, because she's got way more important things to worry about at the moment. But
obviously,
yeah, she still got it out though.
But yeah, good on her for that. And then Tuesday we had Currently Rockhounding and Quest for Details.
Yes, and they were awesome. And apparently, I was talking to Jared, and apparently he got going. Like, the moment that I reached out to him, he immediately got started. And I was like, okay, thank God I am not the only person that gets things done way before I need them to be, because I did the same thing. And
funny thing is, because he had texted me too. Like, he had shown me what he was working on. I'm like, man, you were like on the ball, just like done. What's next?
Right.
I got 2 weeks ago. But if I had extra time, I was actually gonna make him some olives out of obsidian.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
And do like a mini collab for his pizza.
That would have been cool.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, but he needs mushrooms and olives. Yeah.
Well, I told him next time that he needs to get a hold of me, because I have some yellow calcite and bright, like, in-your-face yellow agates that he could have made pineapples with.
Ooh, you're gonna start a controversy online. Pineapple versus no pineapple.
Because I'm promoting him putting pineapple on his pizza, but I am staunchly anti-pineapple on pizza. So I'm supporting the thing that I am not for. So
and instead of doing a slice, he needs to do a whole pizza next time.
Yes.
Ooh, throwing down, Kurt.
We should just hold him to doing a food thing from now on.
That'll be awesome.
I want a full rotisserie chicken.
That's fantastic.
Kurt, Jared's gonna be like, "All right, challenge accepted. I'll see you guys."
I know he's got it done yesterday. Yeah.
Yep.
He'll have
No
his next
problem.
3 years finished
Sandstone.
in like the next 2 weeks or something like that.
And then,
But then it was Nate, Question Details, and that was so cool. Like I love that he showed trying something that didn't work when he was trying to nap. Like he tried using the rainbow obsidian to nap, realized that it wasn't going to work, and switched to making the obsidian crystal, which I love that he left that in. He absolutely did not have to leave that part of the video in.
no,
Like, but by all means, he could have cut that entire part out, but it totally shows just the dedication that Nate put into his project to like actually show the whole journey that he went through to land on a project that he wanted to make. And I have polished a lot of rocks by hand, and I can say that the amount of work that he did shaping that thing, that obsidian crystal by hand, like, oh man, my fingers feel for him, but man, that is a lot of work that went into that. He probably had a lot of time in shaping and polishing that crystal, and it's just so pretty.
yeah, he did
that
a pretty
rainbow
good job
obsidian.
considering. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought it was awesome. It was just so cool to see. Doing all the rough shaping on his tile saw. It's like, yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, because I think he only had a tile saw and a drill press.
Yep. Yeah. So making actual freehand facets with that, I was pretty impressed. I was pretty blown away by that because freehand facets are not easy by any means. Even if you have like a flat lap, it's not easy. So doing that with sandpaper and a tile saw, like I was pretty blown away watching that.
Yeah,
It's so cool.
Yeah, he gets a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely.
And then so that was Tuesday, and then Wednesday we had Mam Lambo and myself.
Yes.
I mean, some guy named Kyle.
I've heard of him.
So
It was awesome. I loved seeing that, and it was it was so much work. I could just tell like how many like that much moving parts. That is not easy. There's a lot of like coordinating going on. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, actually, like on the process. Is that it? Is that everything?
it was. So I never
sum it up with.
I've never done Intarsia before, so that was a huge learning experience for myself. But for me, I learn by basically taking things apart and then figuring out how they work, and then to reassemble. That's how I've always been. So I can look at something and kind of figure out, okay, that's how that works. That's how that works, and then that's how it should come together.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it's just a trial and error. I mean, I started off with the paper and cut everything out, and I figured, okay, that's gonna be what I'm going to be working with. But things changed as I was working on them, because I was going to do the beard out of 2 different colored stones.
Oh, really?
I was going to use oh gosh, there was a kind of a reddish agate. And then I found actually a slice of Saginite agate, which would have been
cool.
awesome for the hair, because it's actually brown and a little bit of red in there. And really,
It's that time.
yeah, it's that time. But I was going to use that for the hair, and I'm like, gosh, it would be nice, but otherwise he's going to meow the whole time. But I decided to actually, I found another slab of what's on there now. It was actually a dual colored stone, which worked perfectly because it had like the red on the side and a little bit of the yellow down here. I'm like, that's perfect. I don't have to cut 2 different stones and glue them back together. It saves me a little bit of time for gluing. And, but yeah, the whole process was just, it was trial and error and, seeing my work. Plus I had to deal with the drill press. Actually, I bought a drill press for the project so I can get a nice flat edge on the slabs for gluing. And then I'm so sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear the baby in the background or not.
Okay.
Well, that's fine.
It's good.
But yeah, it was. I wish I could have had a second camera to like put in the corner of the garage, so people can see like a time lapse of how often I'm going back and forth between my Genie, the Fordham, the drill press, and just it was so much work. And I kind of call the garage the room of requirement because everything's on wheels and I can move everything where I want to. So at some point I moved like I was just moving stuff around all the time. It was constant back and forth. And when I got to gluing day, and that was probably my favorite day because gluing, I don't leave the project. I glue it and I sit there and wait because with that 2-part epoxy, at some point, I can actually work it and remove the excess glue and start the cleaning process. And then from there, I'll leave it alone. And I bought a silicone mat, and I think I told you guys about this, but
Yeah.
that was probably my best investment aside from the drill press. Because blue painter's tape is not cheap. It's like what, $3 or $4 for a roll.
Yeah.
So if I can spend like $15 on a silicone mat and then have it last for years,
Absolutely.
but yeah, that was definitely a challenge. Like you said, a lot of us could have just done something simple, and I could have done something simple. I've always wanted to do like a silhouette of the gnome as for a background. So when Jared had reached out to me like after we got that announcement and told me, you don't do a pooping gnome, I'm gonna be disappointed. I'm like, well, I guess this is gonna push me to actually do a pooping gnome. And I almost went with just a simple silhouette, nothing fancy, and just do a silhouette out of a single piece of stone. And I'm glad I pushed myself and challenged myself with something I've never done before. And there are areas where I wish I could have done better, but for the most part, it turned out fairly well. It's not an identical like match for the paper cutout I did. It's actually a little bit more longer, a little bit bigger, but it was definitely it was a project worthwhile, and I'm glad it's done. Honestly, it was so long because we've had several weeks to do this, and between life at home and other projects, it's trying to make time to sit down and do like all this other stuff. If rocks were my full-time job and I didn't have to worry about being somewhere else, I probably could have had this done in 2 days easily. But this took me several weeks.
I don't doubt it. That's why I made a point of giving everyone so much time, because it's like I did not want you, like, and I think I said that in the messages I sent out to everyone, is that it's not that I don't want you to fit this or this. So how did I work? I don't want you to fit your schedule around this. I want this to fit into your schedule.
Yeah.
So I gave everyone like I think 2 months to get it done.
Yeah.
Like I reached out to everyone that was like end of December, beginning of January, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it was, scheduled for the last full week of March. So there was a good amount of time, and I just did that just because projects are intense and life happens.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I did have a backup. I think I was going to do like a pendant or a stone knife grip or knife scales.
Yeah.
For a knife, and then as a backup, because I know I could like bust that out pretty easily. But no, I'm glad this worked out the first time.
I thought it came out awesome. It was so fun to watch.
That's, as far as YouTube goes, that's probably the most viewed video in a short amount of time out of any of my videos. A pooping gnome out of stone.
Gravel Bar Hopper told me the same thing, and that makes me so happy to hear, because that was like kind of one of the main points of the challenge, was to just community building, like spread us all a bunch of exposure for channels that maybe didn't get that same exposure. So it was really, really cool to see like those views just coming in fast on so many channels. I was like, man, that's awesome. People are excited about this.
And my subscriber count jumped too. And that was the other thing. Like I remember waking up the day of the video is going to be airing, and I was like in the low 650s. And the moment that video went out, it started climbing because like I already had in my mind I'm going to do a giveaway. It's 750, another one at 1,000, and I'm like, oh crap, Now I have to start getting to work on doing a giveaway now because like I'm getting so close to that goal. I'm like, oh, I wasn't prepared for this.
That makes me so happy to hear. Like seriously, that means that the challenge it met its intended purpose, which is awesome.
I hope you do more challenges like this, and we can get some other channels involved too.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of smaller channels that I think they have a lot of potential and they have a lot of knowledge and they do very well with this. I mean, 406 Findings,
absolutely.
He made a lure out of stone.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, he's in Billings too, so he's a local, just like me. So
nice.
He will. I can't like say who is getting invited for the next. I'm trying. The goal is 2 a year, and I'm sure I'm gonna get some irritated comments from some people. I would like the first lineup to be a fixed lineup. So once a year, it's all of the people that was in the first one. But the second one, which would be thinking early spring for the set lineup, and then maybe end of summer, beginning of fall, or mid fall. I don't know. It's a ways out. I'll get to that at some point. But is a rotating setup. So lineup, I should say. So feature different channels every single time. Yeah. And obviously, if for the fixed lineup, if people can't do it or they're going to be busy, then obviously we select some other channels to take part. But I do want to keep the door open for like the inaugural challenge members because it was a really big deal and it was a lot of fun. But I absolutely are going to be doing 2 a year, and one of them is absolutely going to be featuring different channels every single time.
Nice. No, that'd be good. And I feel like this got this whole challenge got a lot of
attention.
Yeah, that word. Yep. Words.
Yeah. It did. It really seemed to, and I was just like an anxious wreck the whole week. And I was like, I hope this goes well. I just want everyone's videos to do well. I want everyone to get some exposure maybe, and I could care less if my video gets 2 views. Like, honestly. My video that's coming out Saturday, it was recorded on Friday of the challenge. I went out and ran a rock hunt, and I get a close-up of my eyes, and you guys are not going to believe the bags under my eyes. It's ridiculous. Like, so it looks like I've been awake for like 72 hours straight. Like, they're just big purple bags under my eyes. So you can see that on Saturday.
Nice. But we can't forget Mam Lambo and his fossilized crab.
Well, you all know I'm a fossil fanatic, so getting Mam Lambo in was a must because he's like one of the best fossil preppers out there, especially on YouTube. To me, he does just phenomenal work. It's just top notch every single time. So I was like, I really want to reach out and invite him, but I don't know if this classifies as making. But I was like, you know what? Whatever. It's my challenge. I'll bend the rules. It's fine.
I think it is making because he's making fossils appear that have been hidden. So
exactly, and so that's when I restructured my description as shaping stone as opposed to making something out of rock. Shaping. So yeah, he absolutely does that, and his fossils are so cool. So I was beyond excited to get him involved on that, and of course. No surprise, he did phenomenal prep work like he always does.
Yeah, I really like his videos and all the work that he does. And plus, he just seems like a really nice guy too. Just
he's such a nice guy. I haven't gotten to talk with him like a whole lot, but man, every time I talk with him, he's just such a nice guy.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be really cool to do a collaboration with him somehow. I mean, if I could afford to fly out there, I totally would. But like, have it like be like a collab where like I'm at the beach rock hounding here in Oregon. I'm like, man, and just like start walking into the ocean, and then like next scene, I'm walking out of the ocean where he's at. I'm like, hey,
that's such a fantastic
That'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
It's like covered in like seaweed, just a beard.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So going on to Thursday, got Agate Dad and Rock Hounding Live,
and they were phenomenal. And I feel so bad for Taylor. Like, that is so rough. Like, the day before, he messaged me with, and it was funny because we message on Instagram like semi-regularly, but he always messages. He doesn't ever send voice messages. So I knew when I saw those 2 audio clips, I was like, oh, something happened. Something happened. So I listened to it, and you can just hear how just sad he is in the voice tags. And I'm like, oh no, man. And then he sends me the clip for the video for his, like, stand-in video. And just, like, you see the amazing, just incredible basalt play button. And I'm like, oh no, that is so cool. I can just see how much time you had in that. And to lose that footage is just heartbreaking.
Yeah, no.
So I'm like, dude, I will go on the hunt. Like, we got to find someone who's tech savvy, because I know that if it's a corrupt file, there is a way to either fix the file or just remove that file, and we can save this video. And he's like, man, it's done. It's fine. No worries. I think I was more worked up about it than he was, but
he did a pretty good job recovering and kind of making the way
fun. Yeah.
I mean, he did an awesome job at kind of doing that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
But
Taylor's such a good guy.
That was a beast of a project. I want to circle back to that in a second, but let's go ahead and cover Rockhounding Live's video first.
Oh my gosh, Jason's ring was insane.
I know.
So cool.
It was crazy.
I haven't received it yet, so I would be showing it off right now. But funny thing about that is, right, like a day or 2 after I reached out to them to do the challenge, he sent me a message and asked for my ring size, and I was so busy doing stuff that I was literally like, yeah, it's a 9. It's a 9, and I completely forgot about it. So come there, time for watching the video and stuff, and they're like, making this for Theo Kellison. I'm like, what? That's so exciting! Oh my god!
It's funny,
hit me like a brick as soon as the video was over. I was like, dude, if you had used your brain, you would have known that you were getting this like months in advance. What the heck? But all right. So anyway,
I was watching that. I'm like, man, it's almost like I'm watching was it Patrick Adair?
Yeah, I love Patrick Adair.
Yeah, it was like watching that, but it wasn't him. I'm like, man, I'm watching
some guys from Nova Scotia instead.
Yeah. But yeah, that was an awesome way that he went over all the different steps and all the different processes, and
yeah, that was amazing. And the added touch of making it all Montana rocks, that is just, it's so cool. Like, I will wear that thing with pride and happily plug his channel every single time someone asks about it.
At all the raves,
those are so cool.
Actually, right? Like with the glow light and everything.
Crap, I need to start going to raves more.
Right.
Circling back to the play button. So, several months ago, I had messaged one of my moderators for my Oregon Rockhound Facebook group. I'm like, hey, check out this idea I had. And my goal was to, once I got to 1,000 subscribers and, was able to, get that to that milestone, was to make a stone play button. I'm like, all right, I got this idea in mind, and I'm still not going to say what it's going to be made out of, because it's still going to be awesome.
And still going to be unique.
So I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. And, what do you think? He said, oh, that's actually a pretty cool idea. I'm like, oh, cool. So I'll start looking for the proper stone and, look for the proper size dimensions I want to do that will be feasible. So when you talk to all of us about the Maker Challenge, I go to Kurt and I'm like, hey, so I have 2 options, because this is after Jared already messaged me. I'm like, hey, so I can either do a gnome or I can do a stone blade button. And Kurt's like, oh no, save the button for when you get to 1,000. That's going to be a really good good video for when you get to that milestone. I'm like, okay, I will wait. Shouldn't have waited. But at the same time, though, if I had done a play button, because like my video came out Wednesday, I feel like it would have kind of taken away from his video.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, granted, it's 2 different materials that I'm working with, 2 different sizes, but I'm telling you, like he slammed that out of the park. Like it's not so cool. It's not just a little. It's not just a little play button. It's a
he went
play button.
full
also
size
the-
diamond play button. Just it was so awesome.
And it's also the contrast between the red jasper and the slate. And it just like
Yes.
popped like crazy. It's super beautiful.
And he inlaid that stone like just perfectly. That is not easy to carve out, the section for the jasper to sit into. He did a really, really good job.
Yeah, and I give him a lot of credit for that because I'm not looking forward to the inlay part of mine at all. Because I mean, it helps that he has a little bit more like bigger surface to work with. I'm working a little bit of a smaller surface, and I'm like, because my whole catch was for my videos, be like world's first like stone play button, and then he came out with that. I'm like, oh no, but I'm like, no, that's still okay because like it's art. You can have 3 people make play buttons and they're all going to be different in one way or another. And then I saw that there's another YouTuber that made a custom play button for Mr. Beast. And
yes,
yeah, you saw it, right? Like,
yeah, it's awesome.
Well, towards the end of that clip, I'm sure you saw it, but like his little brother also made a stone play button. It's about this big, and it looked like it was probably made out of marble with it had a meteorite triangle center.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And I messaged Taylor. I'm like, hey, looks like we're not the first ones, because I'm sure they had that done like way in advance, like way in advance. But
Yeah, probably for sure.
I mean, to be honest, I was waiting for one of these channels to actually make a play button. With the growth of the popularity of a lot of these rock hunting channels and lab rating channels growing. Someone was going to do it eventually.
It was bound to happen. Yeah.
And I'm sitting over here just like sweating. I'm like, who's going to do it first? But I mean, Taylor, if you ever watch this, like you did an awesome job. And
oh yeah,
fantastic! It was so good.
There's a YouTuber, and I told him about this. There's a YouTuber in the UK that collects YouTube play buttons. And I mean,
that's awesome.
I'm sure like it's more of like the official play buttons. But
yeah.
How cool would it be like if you had like a larger channel be like, hey, I want your play button. Like at what point do you go like, should I keep it? Should I sell it?
They're expensive from what I've heard.
You can always make another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Just make another one.
Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty awesome, and I hope he displays that there on that rock shelf right behind him all the time because
I hope so. I hope it's front and center because it's so cool.
Definitely.
But yeah, so that was Thursday. Let's go to Friday.
One sec. The beast got out of the room. One sec.
No.
Thank you, Alexis. Floyd, you too, bud.
Not.
Okay.
Come on,
right.
Floyd.
No, he's under the
Seriously?
table now. He's down here. Oh, yep, there he is. Nope. This is the one that you guys. They're like, what are you doing? You're never out here with the tripod in front of you. What's going on? Sorry, anyway. Moving on.
So Friday we had Michigan Rocks and Marlena.
Atkins.
Yeah.
I'm bad with words, so I'm sorry for anyone in advance.
Yeah, and it was so awesome. It was. I'm not okay. Good. I'm not the only one having pet issues.
He's working. He's about as good as a child, coming and going, and he shut the door. It'd be ashamed if I went back in.
No, it was. I loved watching both of those. Marlena is a ridiculously skilled wire wrapper. Like she just does such good wire wraps, and I always knew that. Like pretty much right off the bat, I was like, okay, when it comes to making, I want a good range of stuff. Oh, we got to get Marlena in here. She's such a good wire wrapper. We got to get Marlena in here. It's like no joke. She was probably like the 4th or 5th channel that I actually thought about like talking. So I was like, okay, I know there's a bunch of lapidary rock channels that I can get in, but wire wrapping is so cool and unique, and it's something that I wish that I could do, but I just cannot. I am not a good wire wrapper. So I was like, all right, Marlena, we got to get Marlena in here, and she did such a good job. That thing is so cool. and she's so good at it. And I actually love that she made it a tutorial, because I'm totally going back and following along her tutorial at some point, because I want one of those.
I've tried it before, and I give credit to anyone that can actually successfully do it. I took a small class, and I think it's me and one other person in wire wrapping. The other person, I can't remember if they got to work or not, but like mine, it looks great. But the moment that I removed the tape that was holding everything together to help secure it, the wire looked great, but it wasn't tight enough, so the stone just popped right out. I'm like,
Oh man,
I'm done. I tried.
I can do really, really simple wraps. I am actually good at doing trees, the wire wrap trees, but that's
nice.
That's about as far as that skill extends. It's just maybe probably need to practice more, but yeah, I'm not good at it at all.
Yeah,
she makes it look so easy.
I've tried attempting wire wrapping. I'd love to learn how to do those trees like you were just saying that you do. But I've done a couple. My very first one was, I don't even think I watched the video. It turned out awesome. And since that one, I've never been able to make one as good as that one. And it's so frustrating. I'll get into it, and it's like going good, and then like 20 minutes after that, it's just like I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
I totally know what you mean.
So
it like always has a strong start, and then it just kind of veers off at some point.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how my wire wrapping goes.
and then like the smaller the wire is, like my fingers start shaking, and then it gets super frustrating when that happens. So
absolutely,
yeah. She did an awesome job, and then I kind of felt bad because I was trying to do a lot of them were premieres, and I was trying to be there for a lot of the premieres, but everyone has stuff going on, and I think I can't remember what time hers premiered, but I might have already been at work, so I couldn't necessarily watch it. But I think I ended up watching it through my heads, like I was like working and listening, kind of half off to the side. But I felt bad because I want to be there for the premieres for everyone's videos the best I could, so I can kind of be there with the live chat, which is a cool feature. Be able to sit there and chat with the person that made the video. Of course, a lot of times the chat would be kind of veer off into to different subjects,
which is kind of one of the beautiful things about the live chat, that they all just kind of take on their own life, and I love that actually.
But no, she did an awesome job with that video, and so a lot of credit. A lot of us can't wire up, so thanks for putting that video out there.
Absolutely. And then Rob did such cool beads like that. He is a wizard when it comes to lapidary stuff. Like his solutions to things are so simple, but you would never think about it. Like the jig for that he made for turning the beads. Like
that was awesome.
It's so brilliantly simple that it is so not obvious at all, and it's genius. It's absolutely genius, and his channel is just filled with that kind of stuff. I don't know. The concept of bead making was very much a foreign, thing for me. And he just busted it out and made it look like it was just so easy. Just, I was like, okay, well, I'm determined to try this myself now, because I'm more confident now. They look so good.
Oh, they look professionally. Like they look
absolutely
awesome. Like
absolutely.
If you put that in front of someone, be like, did these come from a store, or were these homemade? Like, someone's gonna say that looked like it came from a store.
Oh, yeah.
They absolutely did. They absolutely did.
So that was pretty awesome. And then now, now we go to Saturday, and we got a Rookie Rockhounding and yourself, of course.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about Rookie's video, but we should still talk about it some more, because
I love Rookie. He's such an amazing guy. So I mean, just give me an excuse to talk about how awesome Rookie is. Like, seriously.
He's so nice too. Like he's left some really awesome comments in my videos, and like, oh man, thanks for that positivity. I really needed that for today.
Dude, like seriously. I challenge you to find a person that can say a single bad thing about him. He is like one of the most nice, like just most genuine people you'll ever come across. Such a cool guy.
Yeah, and
Yes.
he did all of his work on low tech, and I love that.
He absolutely.
Yeah.
He does amazing work on
Perfect.
extremely low tech, and it's so encouraging for just anyone can do this. Like seriously, don't if you can't afford the $4,000 cabbing machine, then just go buy an angle grinder. You're fine.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love it.
No
I love it
worries,
so
mate.
Exactly.
Love
Such
it.
a nice guy.
Totally.
That's what I love about it. He's using simple equipment, and I give him a lot of credit for using an angle grinder for doing what he does.
Absolutely.
It would probably take me a hot minute to to do something like that with just an angle grinder. I mean,
absolutely.
I know I can do it. It's just it would. I'm so used to what I'm using now, and it would take me a while. And I've tried using the angle grinder on a few other things, and I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
He's done a couple awesome projects with that piece of equipment.
And
Yeah,
cubes
absolutely.
aren't
Definitely.
easy. Cubes are
No.
so hard.
Oh,
Cubes
they
are
are.
hard on a flat lap,
Yep.
and I'm just going like, he's using a saw. Wow.
Well, and the funny
good.
thing is, every time I talk to him about it, he's like, I just went so simple. Now I feel like I went too simple. I was like, man, it's simple on the surface, but those cubes, that's hard, man.
Mhm.
That is like some seriously hard work.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't downplay the struggle because that is impressive.
Yeah. I haven't done cubes yet, and watching that
either.
video should be able to help me actually make some cubes. So,
Like, get on with
Thanks.
it. Yeah, same here. Because they were like, just perfect. I was really, really impressed.
and then
And again, the laughing at the end with the.
Oh yeah, the gagging.
It was just so funny watching that play out because when we were talking like, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point, he was telling me what he was going to make, and I was like, oh dude, that's such a great idea. And he's like, yeah, I got this buddy, and I know he drinks scotch, so he'll
Nope.
like him, he'll enjoy it. And then the video comes out, and it's like, I thought you did like scotch. No, I've never. No. It's so hard.
no, but he did a fantastic job, and I like that he actually kept like some of the more natural sides of a couple of the pieces.
Yes, I do too.
Mhm.
That was a very unique touch, and yeah, that was awesome.
I also appreciate that he made a point of bringing up and talking about mineral toxicity. Yeah, because that's not something you want to just encourage to like anyone to go
Yeah.
do
Back
that
to the
with whatever they have.
arsenic and cinnabar, like,
Okay, well, I'm gonna go make some malachite scotch rocks then.
yeah. No.
Go make some bumblebee scotch rocks. Don't
Yeah,
do that.
bumblebee.
Don't do that.
No,
Please don't do that. Everyone at home, don't do that.
Don't listen
No,
to Kyle.
The rocks he used are very, very, very stable. They themselves are not like toxic whatsoever. It's the dust that comes off of them that's toxic. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm happy he pointed that out because that could send the wrong message if left untouched. Because
I've recently, sorry, I recently had to actually add the mineral toxicity link into one of my videos because someone had left a comment, and I'm not going to go into it because it was more of criticism,
Mhm.
and but I since added the toxicity thing to my description thing. That way it's out there. And
Yeah.
part of me wonders if I should just leave that out there permanently on the
Yeah.
thing, so people will be like, "Oh, yeah."
Why not? Honestly, like it's a good thing to just have access for people in general.
Yeah,
That is a question I get a lot in my Facebook group is people asking, how do you know which stones are toxic? And it's like, well, yeah, it's a very complicated question because some jaspers are fine. You can pop some jaspers in your mouth and it's fine, but you wouldn't want to do that with a bumblebee jasper.
nope.
So,
Not at all.
It varies quite a bit. And I think that toxicity, it's a really good resource to have access to. So I think it's a great idea to put it in your descriptions, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna start doing that from now on because, I mean, I don't mind the critique. I think I was working on a reply to the comment, but they have removed the comment while I was typing out this long thing.
No,
Don't you
don't you hate that?
I mean,
yeah.
I do appreciate. I mean, the person did leave some good knowledge in there, but they're talking about how cause it was my Toxic Rocks episode or my video. And I mean, to be honest, out of all the rocks I was showing, a lot of them are fairly safe to handle, just as is. But there were a few that couldn't handle, like as you have to wear gloves and stuff. Like I had Orpiment, I had Realgar, I had Bumblebee Jasper, and oh gosh, there was one more I think. But then I had a small piece of Stibnite in a little glass jar too. But those are really the more ones I'd be more worried about, since at that time I had made that video, River was still pretty young, and so I made sure, like after that video, I took off my clothes in the garage for washing, and took off the gloves, washed my hands, and all that kind of good stuff. But it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I've been doing this long enough to know, like, okay, that rock's clearly not safe to handle.
Right.
This rock is. And the thing is, like, a few days later, my grandma actually gave me a jar of that says mercury on it.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And it's not a clear jar. It's a like porcelain-looking jar, and it's a little dense. I'm like, I mean, mercury is dense as it is. It's very dense, and so it felt like there was like 3/4 the way full. So the other day, I decided to peek in there with a flashlight. I'm like, what's going on in there? Oh, there is mercury in there, but there's like maybe this much and like water on top of that. I'm like, I would love to make a video on this, but I want to make sure I know how to properly dispose of anything that touches the mercury.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't want to get that kind of negative flack online. Because
no,
I mean, my curiosity is like it's there. I'm like, I would love to be able to pour this out, and I do want to actually get it into a different like display case, so you can actually see it. But
yeah,
right now it's sitting on a very tippy top shelf in the garage, out of any reach of anybody. Do not want to drop a jar of mercury at all.
no.
That's a scary thought.
In art, which is actually an area in which you use a lot of the heavy metals that you would find in rocks, right? Because the pigments are made out of that. And so what they recommend is when you're working with the paint, pigments, and the thinners, you just wear gloves so that you don't absorb those into your skin. And so, I mean, I would think that the same rule would apply to when you're working with any of these in lapidary, or with even just hounding, if you're worried about what might be present in the clay. I'm paranoid, so when in doubt, be safe.
I totally get it. I mean, without dragging on too much longer for the toxic rock part, I do have a few stones that I like working. I will say that there is one stone I have not mastered polishing yet, and surprise, surprise there. But I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, but it's Psilomylane. It's Psilomane. Its harsh term is called black malachite, because depending on how you cut it, you can actually get some beautiful orbs. And I'll send you all pictures, or I can even Photoshop in a picture here if I remember.
I don't see it.
I've worked a couple pieces, and I can't for the life of me actually get a good polish on it. I'm looking up really quick. But it's found. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm not trying to be impersonal here, but I'm trying to. It's not. It's. I think it's like New Mexico. I think it's found at. But when you work it, it turns the water black, and when I didn't expect this when I started working it, and so I started working with a lot of water and just black everywhere. I'm like, ugh, and I feel like it probably could have stained my clothes if I let it. But I mean, the stuff's beautiful. It's one of those things where if you cut it one way, you're gonna get like a lot of orbs and a lot of cool patterns. But if you cut it the other way, you're just gonna get like regular like silver straight lines. The stuff is beautiful, but aside from that, you got sodalite, which turns the water blue. The gnome's pants. I don't know what that material was, but it was turning the water like a purple, like blue purple. And I'm like, ugh. And it actually was pretty soft material too. But there's a lot of stones out there, like I think even lapis, turns water blue too. I think just wearing gloves and stuff like that it's just safe to use, so you're not absorbing like whatever chemicals in that stone into your skin, just for safety. So again, circling back to Ricky, making sure that having that information in his video is awesome. That way, for people that do watch it, they can know to be keep an eye out for things that can be toxic, so you're not putting strange metals into your cup.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is shiny. But yeah, so that leaves you, Theo, for the dragon. I mean, for your special project.
Well, I mean, I thought it went well, but would you guys want to ask me stuff about it? Because I don't know what more to say than just, yep, I'm happy with that.
How many hours did you put into that?
Yes, I was curious.
I did the like number crunching, and it was anywhere between 130 and 170 hours.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It was an undertaking for sure. Like, the funny thing about it is 5 minutes into the video, I'm already like 90 hours of work into that. It's like, I've just like barely got the body shape like to a point where it's almost done, like rough shaping. And that alone is like 70, 80, something like that hours of work. Like, it's crazy. It's honestly crazy.
That's dedication. Dedication.
Yeah.
At what point did you know that you were going to use a different material for the wings?
Pretty much immediately. I saw the size of the chunk, and it was like perfectly shaped like that kind of. So I'm like, oh, okay, head sloping back, legs. I'll just use a different stone for the wings. And the other thing about that is that soapstone, in Montana soapstone anyway, it's really stable, but it also has these fracture points, like these, like they're cleavage points, but they are actually like, it's weird. They are fissures, but only on like a surface level. Like, they aren't actually structurally not sound, but I was still a little spooked by them, so I didn't want to like risk, because I mean, if you see the video, I've got someone right here. The stems of the wings are like about the diameter of a pencil. So if I made them out of stone, it was going to be a lot of weight on a very, very small point. So I just was afraid that they'd be breaking off constantly. And then the other thought process was, how the heck do I carve that back with two big old spades blocking my entry? So the resin was the logical conclusion for me, just because I could do them later. It's so lightweight that I didn't run the structural risk of using stone, but could actually kind of match the color a bit.
Breaking down the project, how many hours did the wings take?
The wings were not as bad. I actually, funny enough, I was talking about it earlier. Resin is one of my favorite things to carve because it cuts like butter. It is wonderful. You just and you don't need to polish it. That's another thing. You save a lot of time working on resin because you just do your rough shaping. You'll sand it with like 120 grit, and that's just to level everything out, remove scratch pattern from your cutting bits, and then you'll wet sand it up to like 400 grit. That's it, like 400 grit. For rock stuff, that's still like shaping grit for a lot of stuff that you're working on. That's not polished, and then you just do a brush coat of resin and you're done. So honestly, the wings probably were like, I don't know, 5-10 hours per wing. So they went way quicker than the rest of the project.
Nice. Yeah, no, you did an awesome job, and it was a good way to really end the week.
Thank you.
Where did you get the idea to do the dragon?
I actually have been wanting to do a dragon for a long time, and we went out to a spot this summer, last summer, I guess, and got into a bunch of really, really nice chunks of soapstone. And pretty much right off the bat, I was like, all right, I need to do a carving. Like, for the challenge, my strong suit when it comes to working with rock would definitely be my carving. Like I feel more confident in my carving than my like jewelry or anything else like that. So it was pretty like right off the bat knew I wanted to do a carving. I've been wanting to do a big soapstone carving for quite some time. I turn around and see the chunks sitting there and I'm like, yep, we're doing it. I got it like kind of leveled out and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a dragon for sure. Funny thing is, the two options that I was the other thing I was thinking about going with, you couldn't get more different. I was gonna do a full detail rose blossom out of the soapstone, and that would have been cool too. But I think the dragon was the way to go.
There'll be more maker challenges, so you'll have your chance.
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
I love how you used a tiger eye for the horns.
I love tiger eye. I have such a soft spot for tiger eye. It's something I have a lot of at the shop. Like just some big giant boulders of tiger eye at the shop. So I was like, I use it wherever labradorite too. Like I will use those two rocks in any place that I can because I adore them so much. So I was like, when it came time to make the horns, yes, tiger eye. And then I got a piece out and set it next to the soapstone. I was like, oh, that gold and green goes together so well. Yep, tiger eye.
Nice.
He likes the chatoyant rocks.
Yes, actually, funny that you say that. That was like literally my specialty. When I first started doing jewelry and stuff, only chatoyant rocks. Like I had labradorite, rainbow moonstone, Montana moonstone, which is a really cool rock. I had a bunch of star garnet, bunch of gold tiger eye, blue tiger eye, red tiger eye, lots of opals, like amylite. That seriously.
Nice. It is animal time.
Come here, buddy. Say hello.
Okay.
Okay. You got my cord. Oh no. Okay.
It's the tiger's eye.
So yeah, like when I first started my shop, it was exclusively chatoyant rocks. Like that's it. And I love flashy rocks like that. They hold a soft spot, but also have like ridiculous amounts of surplus and all that stuff because of how much I loaded up on them when I first started. So
have you worked with a charoite much yet?
I have not gotten to very much. I love that stuff so much. There's another one. Why can't I not remember the name right now?
Peter's Eye?
Yes, and I love it so much. I have a couple slabs that I'm waiting to do some cool stuff with, but I love that stuff.
Yeah, stuff's expensive too.
It was very expensive.
I think what I paid for is like $1 a gram, and I bought a nice large blue slab of it, and I figured, okay, if I do this correctly, I should be able to get 2 knives out of this one slab. And my plan was to cut it. It was just thick enough to where I can actually cut it straight down the slab, and then back it with another material so I can actually utilize it. But I messed up that first cut. Because
oh no!
What I did, I cut out the blanks that I needed, and I was gonna then cut the blanks in half, right down the center of it, or the hot dog ways, not not hamburger or whatever. Going back to preschool now. But yeah, I really messed up on the cut. I didn't line it up correctly, and I veered off, and I'm like, I can't use this now, and that was a waste. And so it took me a year to work up the courage to actually finish this knife. Because I'm like, okay, I just need to sit down and do this. And the thing is, like, Peter's Eye is so soft.
It's so soft.
And I think I talked about this before, actually, in the Toxic Rocks video, where you can actually work on it, and if you're not careful, it'll actually fray out. It's just
it does,
and it's just so soft. So
it's terrifying.
And like this knife was actually supposed to be like a Father's Day gift for a friend of mine, and I felt so bad because this was taking too long for me to do, and I didn't have it done in time. So I made him a lapis stone handle knife instead. So I still have the Peter's Eye one, and it's sitting in my shop, and I just can't bring myself to use it as a daily knife. So I don't want to mess it up. So it's art. It's a useful art, but it's art.
It is. Yeah, it's some scary, expensive stuff. Honestly, like I bought a good sized chunk, and It's funny because I buy Lightning Ridge opals a lot and black opals a lot, but that big block of Peter's Eye was probably my most expensive rock I've ever bought. The thing was ridiculous. There was a chunk like good sized chunk, like 3 or 4 pounds, something like that.
Wow.
I got a bunch of slabs off of that, and the funny thing is I only have like 3 slabs of it left because I made so many cabochons and jewelry settings, so I don't really have much of that rock left, and I'm like remembering how much it costs. I'm like, I'm not ready to buy more yet. Like, we'll just hoard this until I need it.
Well, the question is, did you make your money back?
Yes. Yeah, I will say that. Yeah, at the very least, made our money back. So it was a return investment, but still. Deuce, please stop, buddy. Shuffle him away really quick.
But no, yeah, you did an awesome job with that Stone Dragon. And again, that was an awesome way to end that week. And with that being said, do you have anything that you want to say to all the contestants that took place in the Makers Challenge?
You guys were awesome. It was so much fun. Like, it was just kind of a harebrained like scheme that I was coming up with while actually carving the penguin. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I did not expect to hear back from like anyone, much less everyone that I approached. I asked for the bare minimum, and every single person went so above and beyond. I was just blown away. And just again, like I said earlier, to all of you first time Makers Challenge members, you guys have a guaranteed spot every year. I promise that, because you guys, that was so awesome. That was so cool to be a part of such a cool event. And yeah, it went so well. I was so happy with it.
The only downside is now we set the bar so high.
Hey, there's always something bigger, honestly. Like, you can always top yourself.
There is something I do want to do. I don't want to give away just yet, but screw it. I will say what I want to do. So I'm not a smoker. I don't advocate for smoking, but I've always wanted to make a stone pipe, not like a weed pipe, but an actual like old style, like big bowl tobacco pipe with the stem and everything.
Make yourself a Gandalf.
Yeah, I thought I always thought it was super cool to make something like that and to make it out of stone, but something that's be sturdy enough to withstand stand the heat. And again, going back to the toxicity, make sure it's not a toxic rock. Mm-hmm. But that is something I do want to figure out how to do and do it right. And so maybe I'll make a video and just set it aside and just wait for the next Maker Challenge.
There you go, yeah.
Oh, Maker Challenge? I'm already done.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's the golden part about all of you first timers. It's like, you guys know you have a full year to make next time, so I don't even need to like give you guys dates. Like, you got it. You got a year to make something awesome. So
go big or go home.
Yeah.
It'd be actually really awesome if someone made a Fred Flintstone car, like a full size.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Stone wheels and all, just like. But no, yeah, that was we all appreciate the opportunity for the Maker Challenge, and so yeah, we're looking forward to more.
Yes, and there will definitely be more coming. Like I said, I'm trying to find the right way to space them. I'm thinking just one every 6 months, but so it'll be sometime in the fall, I think, will be the next one. But there will definitely be 2 a year. There was so much, I was so nervous about the announcement video coming out, and then it came out, and I was just getting blown up with comments, and people were like so hyped for it. I was like, okay, I not only is this going to turn into an annual thing, we are doing 2 a year because the demand is there for it. And it's just such a cool opportunity to give like a bunch of different channels, the spotlight, like it was so cool. It was so much fun.
It was a good mix. You had a lot of more seasons channels and some newer channels.
Yeah,
very good mix.
That's something I definitely want to maintain. Also, is just I want it to every size to be kind of represented in a way,
Yeah, no, you did really good.
Thank you.
So I think that pretty much wraps it for the Makers Challenge. We have actually gone a little bit longer.
That's
But
fine.
we still have a couple more things that
That's normal.
we forgot to actually add in the questions from last week's video.
Oh.
Luckily, they're super simple questions. We only have 2, so these will be easy. So the first question was actually from 406 Findings, and the question was, do you pick up trash when you go out rock hounding?
Absolutely every single time I'm out.
Yeah, same here.
Same.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
Sometimes it's more trash than rocks, but
Sadly.
I guess we're a little lucky in Montana because we just definitely still have trash, but it's such a massive state and it's not that big of a population, so we definitely don't come into it as much. But I do still always pick up every time I go out.
There's been times where I found actual tools, and no one's around. There's no cars around. I'm like, mine now.
Unfortunately, I've been on the opposite end of that one before.
Lost some tools, did you?
Yeah. Went back to get them the next day, and they were gone.
I've actually I found a little foam knee pad, just like the little square ones that have like a little handle in there. I still have that here at home. I use it for when I'm gardening. So it's like,
Yeah.
Can't
do you guys watch Wild Kyle by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, I absolutely love his channel, but that one thing I appreciate about his channel is he and Paleo Chris both, whenever they go out hunting, they bring like 5 or 6 like 30-gallon trash bags with them, and they literally block out like 30-45 minutes every single hunt to just deep clean and fill up as much trash as they physically can while they're there, and I love that they do that.
That's awesome.
So I wish that more people did that.
Absolutely.
I had made a post on my personal Facebook page like a long time ago, just saying like, why do we only have Earth Day one day out of the year? Why can't it be every day?
It should be treated as just every day.
Yeah, it's not hard to see a piece of garbage, be like, I'll take it with me. It's not hard.
It's not that difficult.
As my job before last, previous job before my current job. I was a vocational specialist for adults that are on the spectrum, and one of our jobs, aside from mowing lawns and pulling weeds, well, we had to go pick up trash, and that was actually my favorite part because not only am I picking up trash, but my guys are picking up trash too, and we got a fair amount of trash every single time that we went out, and it's just mind-boggling because here in Corvallis we'd walk the riverfront every time. It doesn't matter. We'd always pick up trash. And you think that from us being there the previous week, or even like the other day, because slow like winter months, but there's not really a lot of mowing to do, so we pick trash all the time. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's every other day, and it's just ridiculous and how easy it is for people to just be like, trash.
It drives me nuts.
But it's also pretty easy for me to find $20 bills too. Yoink. Tip of the day.
The one that drives me insane is we go to Florida like twice a year, and we always go out on the boat for fishing, and we go through like the mangrove islands and the flats while we're fishing and stuff. There's one thing that you find out there, one piece of trash that you find more than any other, and it just makes my blood boil every single time, and that's balloons.
Yeah. We
Balloons.
find those on the beach too. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, and like tangled up into mangroves, like floating around, and it's absolutely from people just letting their balloons go and just letting them. I don't know.
We're also getting
it makes me so mad.
Yeah.
We're also getting to a point where there's masks everywhere now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
That's like the most common litter around Billings right now is masks.
Yeah.
And it's so beyond irritating. It's like you're spending money on these. Don't lose them.
Right?
I mean, it might sound gross, but I reuse. If I have a mask, I reuse it. It might sound more gross, but my wife has left her mask in my truck. And if I'm out somewhere and I have to go to the store and I forgot my handkerchief to cover my mouth, I'll wear a mask. And she's like, "Oh, that's gross." I'm like,
"Well, sure.
We've been together for like 10 years. We have a kid together."
I've got mine right here. It's like I take it everywhere with me. It's cloth. so I'm never like wasting it. It gets washed every night, and I never had to replace my mask because I just have one that's reusable.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just biggest pet peeve of mine is trash. I mean,
yeah, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, and in my video that I'm putting out on Monday, I mentioned pick up the trash, and then at the very end of the video, I lost a glove, and I talk about whatever you bring in, bring out with you. But I lost a glove somewhere out there.
I remember how we had that question about funny stories. The other podcast.
Yeah.
I guess this would actually kind of tie into losing things while you're rock hounding too. But I went rock hounding with my a friend of mine, Chris, which he's been in a couple other videos. And that was the first time I've ever met him, like in person. And so we go out rock hounding. I let my wife know where we're going. And of course, he lets his wife know where we're going. But we go out rock hounding, and we're traversing through the creeks and looking for rocks and stuff. And when we come back through, look at this big rock that he was considering getting out, and go back to the truck, go look for my keys. Keys aren't there. Empty out my bag. Keys aren't there. Check my pockets thoroughly. Keys are not there because we took two separate trucks. And at this point, I'm dumping my bag on the ground, just like I'm trying to find my keys. I'm like, my keys are nowhere to be found. They're gone. No. And we try to do a brief walkthrough. Couldn't see anything. Well, at that point, he was super kind enough to drive us back down where we got cell service, and called my wife. She drove like an hour and a half to come give me my spare truck key so I can get into my truck. and that was that. And we continued rock hounding for a little bit. A couple months later, actually it might have been more than a couple months later, he sends me a picture of his tailgate with all these rocks. He's like, "Hey, look what I found." And with all the rocks was my set of keys. Wow. Him and his wife had went back to get this one larger stone, and his wife actually they did look at the GoPro, his GoPro footage, to kind of get an idea where they could have fallen off at. And sure enough, they were in the water nearby where this big rock was, and so they found my keys.
That's awesome.
And since then, I've learned to leave a lockbox in the bed of my truck, so I don't lock myself out again. And also to not leave my house key, my work keys, my padlock keys all in one key ring. If I got rock hounding in, I will only bring my truck key when I go out, and so I don't risk losing all those other keys again, because that was awful.
That's one thing I'm always afraid about losing when out rock hounding. Like every time I leave the car, I check my bag, I check my pockets multiple times on the hike up and on the hike back to make sure like I don't lose the keys. That happened one time to me when I was out in Vermont. I was out hiking. I was out going through a riverbed, and I lost my keys. But thankfully, I locked them inside the car. And
that's just as bad, though.
What?
That's just as bad.
No problem.
I knew where they were, but like there was no service, so like, and I didn't have a clothes hanger or a spare key to unlock it. So like, I think when my family came looking for me, they got to the car, and I pulled the door far enough apart where I could get a small branch in. So there's like multiple branches sticking out of my door when they pulled up. Yeah. They had a spare key, so it was
I think locking your keys in your car is probably the worst. I mean, it's almost worse than losing your keys, because if you lose your keys, they're gone. Like there's like a 99% chance you're not getting those back. But if you lock yourself, worse.
They're just sitting there laughing at you the whole
time. Yeah, exactly. They're just sitting there.
They're just looking back at you like, you
It's even worse when you have a hybrid. So the car turns off, like the engine turns off, but the battery's still on, so it keeps the engine going.
Oh no!
And you leave your keys in the car with it turned with the ignition. I've done that before when I had a hybrid, and I walked off, went into work. My boss was like, your car's just outside running, right? I'm like, no, it's not. And I walk out there, and it was at the point where the engine turned off, but the battery is on, so it was quiet. I was like, it's not running. I walked back inside. No. His son comes in the building. It was like, your car's outside running. I was like, I walk out there, and like right when I went out there, the engine kicked back on. It was out there running for like 6 hours.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, I used to carry my keys on the long lanyards, because I like the decorative ones. A long time ago. Up until I was at Home Depot, and I got out of the van, shut the door, mid shut, the long keychain thing I had, flap it in the wind, caught the door handle, and yanked it right out of my pocket. Door locked.
Oh no!
I'm just pressed up against the glass, like, are you kidding me? Luckily, my window was down this much, and I was at Home Depot, and I go in there and ask an employee, I'm like, hey, I need a favor. Do you have any kind of scrap metal, long wire, or something? I locked myself in my van. It was a weird coincidence, but I need help. He just handed me this piece of wire. He's like, just take it. Like, it was like a whole roll of like wire. He's like, just have it. I'm like, thank you. But yeah, I'm very careful about keys now. I'm tired of locking myself out, and it's just weird stuff.
Yeah, we've done that a few too many times as well. So now we have a key, like magnet under the car. She has her key, and I have a spare key on me at all times. So there are 3 options, and we will never lock ourselves out. If one key is lost, there's still 2 other backups. So
that's good to have.
Sorry, I'm fending off a cat right now. If you see me moving around a bunch,
meow.
He's just kneading up here for some reason.
But we do have one more question, and this was from Manny, Michigan. I noticed that y'all touched this slightly, but what apps do y'all recommend for people in the hobby? And a popular one that both Jared and someone else said was Gaia GPS.
Yeah, that one is amazing.
Yeah, I don't really have any room to say, because a lot of times I just wing it, I guess.
Same.
I use a variety of apps. Another one is Rocked. It's great for finding out the geological background of every location. And then also on Rock, there's like a check-in location where you can check into the location you're at, and you can rate it, take notes, and save photos and stuff, which is really nice. There's also one called Free Roam I use for finding out if there's a BLM land or a state-owned land, as well free camping. So that one is one that I use a lot when I'm just driving and I see a spot off to the side, like, ooh, I wonder if that's public. I pull up that app and look at my location. It shows me. And then another one is whenever I'm researching locations, I'll use the app All Hikes or All Hiking, which has a bunch of hiking trails. I'll look for trails around the area that I'm looking into looking at pictures and just reviews of the area and so forth. So those are basically all the apps that I mainly use. And I do use Google Earth as well to not really use for like directions, but to kind of zoom into first person view where people have taken photos and kind of look around, zoom in at the ground, zoom in the river banks and so forth. And so those are the apps that I use, and they've always checked out to be very useful.
Nice. But that's going to do it for those 2 questions. So I think we should go ahead and do our words of encouragement and start. We'll go ahead and start with Karen.
Well, I was talking to a few creators through the last week, and a few of them were getting a little disheartened because their projects weren't working. And, you know, this harkens back to the Makers Challenge and people showing fails. Take it apart, do it over again. Don't get disheartened. Don't give up. Keep on trying and keep creating. It would be what I would say.
Nice.
Thanks.
Theo?
Oh, I don't know. I think it comes back to that as well. Just don't ever stop and don't ever hesitate. Like, if you don't ever just, say screw it and, get comfortable with failing forward, as I always call it, you never know what you're capable of. So, and another thing is don't ever stop being you, like I've, especially when I was starting out on YouTube or just, being more public in general, is I was really self-conscious. So I was not being my true self. I feel like in the last couple of months, I've been more myself, like actually this is me, not the like professional, all right, this is my Theo Kellison and this is my YouTube channel, like kind of person. So don't be afraid to fail. Just do it, and don't ever stop being you.
How about you, Kurt?
Well, as always, like I've said the last few, whenever you're hunting and you find something that's cool to you, that's special to you, you're drawn to it, pick it up. It doesn't have to be a special look, a special color, a special texture. As long as you like it, it's perfect. And also to add to that, whenever you're out hunting in the public eye, on beaches or road cuts or anything, don't be afraid to actually just look at the ground, look for stuff that you want to find. Well, I know when I first started hunting like road cuts out in Kentucky, I was always afraid that like people are gonna see me, and people are gonna think something weird that I'm looking at a road cut. Just don't pay attention. Don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to what you're drawn to, but at the same time, pay attention to your surroundings as far as safety, to make sure no vehicles are coming at you or you're being watched by mountain lions and so forth. So that's pretty much my words.
I relate so much to that first point. I used to I hunt road cuts a lot. Like we do a lot of road cut hunting, and when I first got into it, I was like, man, what if a cop drives by? I know
Exactly.
I'm 100% legal.
Exactly.
My book told me to come here, but I look suspicious. This is suspicious and I'm uncomfortable. Let's just get as much done in like 5-10 minutes as we physically can and get the heck out of here, because I'm sketched.
Yeah.
I'm sketched. Yeah. So I'm sure other people driving by are thinking I'm sketched. So but we should probably go.
Like the longer you start doing it, the less like you start thinking of what's behind it.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And remember to always have fun. What words of encouragement do you have?
Challenge yourself. Don't, sometimes it is easier to take the easiest route, but don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Learn something new, and you might just surprise yourself. That's all I got for that. In view of the Maker Challenge. But that was my words of encouragement. I mean, unless anyone else has anything to say, we should say our goodbyes and call it good. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I know it's another long one, but that's still okay. We had a lot of awesome people on this podcast, and I'll see you guys next week. Rock on.
Peace out.
Yeah.